Just question today is what is it out there that grabs you? You know, that attracts you. Actually, it starts as a distraction. You know, it distracts you. You're whatever, and then you're distracted to something, and then it's kind of an attraction to that something. And what's that? What are you being attracted to, drawn to right now? Can you bring it to your thoughts and your mind what that is? Do you know what that is? How are you using that? You know, are you using it for what? You know, and it's something to do, say, within, you know, the realms of your body. What do you do with that energy? You know, where do you want to take that energy and displace that energy into something else? You know? You know, you want to place it in, you know, your whole bodies, you know, the whole self. And, you know, I'm finding that yoga is actually a link to that kind of a connection. And that's why yoga is very important if you want to live life in a true human being kind of order. And that yoga is very important. It's a key. And it'll take you, and as you progress through, you know, you feel these energies that, you know, you've kind of felt before, but maybe you've taken using for something else. And that's, you know, isn't necessarily, because of all the distractions nowadays, that's not necessarily the right kind of connection that you want to go to and through, you know. Yep, you understand that. And it opens up, you know, these things they call chakras in your body, these centers. I mean, they're not just made up. There is something there. Just like the meridians, lines in our bodies that follow along our nerves, they're there. They're special points. And I can take my DSD and run that electrical current, you know, at varying degrees of the hertz, depending on what you want to fix, and it can fix. It just, my hair keeps falling. I don't know what to do about it. So, but you get you're running along your body, and you can feel it, you can hear it. And there's sticky places and smooth places where you want to do a little extra time on the sticky places. And when you get those meridian points, if it's on a kind of a high current, you can feel it, you know, right there. And it'll like zap you, you know, but you're moving along off of that point, and, you know, you're not feeling it like that. But it's just that one meridian point that gets so... it gets so loud, you know. Boy, those guys are getting loud and upset. But you can feel it in that point. So that's it's a meridian. It's a point of energy in your body, and there's just things about the body, and you know, touching and massaging, and there's trigger points, little knotty places you have to rub out. And all you do is massage them out. It's usually because of, you know, kinked up, shrunk up muscles are not being used and stretched out like you would do in yoga. And so it forms those little things. And I had a doctor here, and he said that they had studying that, and they were practicing giving shots with a needle and those trigger points. With these shots, you know, I didn't think to ask, but were they, well, the way he said it was like they were giving them shots, but, you know, what is taken out? Because that needle inserted to that area, has to be something can be taken out there for testing. But surely, you know, you haven't already done that and gone on down the place where, well, this is what we put in there. It's to enter the body into that trigger point that's been activated through, you know, whatever irritations, and now we can get it into the body, and where does that travel? You know, what kind of experimentations are that? So I just think you can rub those things out. You know, getting back to, though, the thing with the centers called chakras is real. You know, just those meridians in our body, the center points of high energy, you know. You want to draw the energy up. I'd heard one time, and I did apply it, where, you know, having sex and that, during that orgasm, I didn't let it out. You know, there was still, like, you know, that reaction, you know, the sperm, but I withheld that energy inside, and it rose up. It went up to the top of my head, and then it went a little more, and then it went further, and then it just kept going. I couldn't control it. I couldn't stop it. That energy was, it was immense. You know, I don't know if, like, you know, once the sperm enters the egg, it just does it that one time. And, you know, sperm does say, hey, this is, you know, hey guys, I'm sorry you missed out on this, but watch this. I'm going to do this again, okay? You guys all watching here? Here we go. And so, you know, he gets out and he goes back up the stream a little way, and gets in that current, and he started to flow and coming back in there, and oh, he's getting inside, but it's a little jaggedy, like it wasn't quite tight before. What the hell? It's a little, but then I guess those eggs allowing that sperm to enter are much like a vagina that, you know, during intercourse it can increase by 200%. So you know, it's not going to be the same feeling, you know. But see, the little sperm doesn't get to do that with his buddies, you know. You didn't get to show him. You get one shot. So, like, that was my one shot. And you talk about it enlivened me. But who do you talk to, you know? What is it to talk about? When most people are just into this life and this living that's introduced to us now and has been introduced for some time, and you know, it's just pretty boring. It's not really where it's at. It's not really good for the people of the world, if you think about it. If you just look about and compare and see, it's not good for all the people. It's just a few people that had to be inside and run the governments, you know. And then behind those people are families that control, that they rule the world. They were granted us. We were like the well, it could be like the trick of the trade, you know, instead of like they were just what's left over, remnants, you know, from wars eons ago that, you know, we don't know nothing about, but it's sure that it could still be possessed in their memories and in the books of their history, and they know all about it and how to control us and such. And that's not coming from a creator that created, you know, the humans and put a soul, a living soul inside a human so you can become alive. It's more alive than any other creatures on this planet that we know of. You know, the animals, they communicate in their language and body language. It's much different from ours. They're only concerned about that level that they're in, being that animal, that creature, that kind, and that's the level they're in. But with us, we're not on, as we see down through those chains, like on those levels. You can see onto those levels, and you can be on to and touch those levels, but just as there are levels down, there are levels above. And, through withholding that energy that time and letting it rise up through my other body chakras. Now, having practiced on enlivening the energies of those said other chakras located in the body lower down than the crown. So I haven't done anything to, energize those, thoughts bring to those, just other than reading about it. But nothing, intentionally, as when I withheld, and it just, maybe it kept it from those other parts grabbing on to some of that, because it was just so much, and it just depends, and that's, possibly, we're on Earth, we're above Earth, where these thought energy lines, proceed from and to. Then we can connect to and withdraw from some of that. And it's a higher level. It's another level. Like we can see down levels of animals, other creatures. There are levels above us to where we are the creatures. Now's the time to ask of yourself, what kind of creature do you want to be seen as? It's hard to say without saying it in a joking manner. The mannerisms beheld in Islam and what they're programming and brainwashing people that would be Christians and turning them into Muslims with an agenda. Do you want to think of yourself as joined to that kind of, well, that's not a religion, but the kind I think I would rather share is from a creator that put the souls in human beings. And this is a God of creation, of everything. And that God was love, and it was grace. But through the eons, I guess there's a deface, such as a rusting, and it just little poofs needs little cleanings. And sometimes you got to get down there and you got to clean those things yourself. It can't always be from heaven above coming down to save. Because the knaves can make it through. And that's the ones that are nay. And these are Muslims. Such a brooding crew. Do you all realize that the temples, their mosques that they're building, they build around the world, and they're installing and have built in the United States, are fortresses? Think back in the times that we did not live, but were told, and first coming over here and meeting with Indians, and has that time developed on and on. There was a good life for these first people because of their intent with the Mayflower and all. But these Mayflowerians, they would not allow a Muslim on the shores of this new shores that they had founded. They would not allow them. So if they came over, somebody took care of them. And, you can't trust them to go back because, maybe they have studied some way with navigation and know the stars and travel, and they know the way back. And we can't have that. So, we have to kill them. They have to be let loose. And this blood that will be spilt will not be counted against us in any noose, because this is God's willing that this kind of killing has to be brought upon the Muslims. The mosques need to be entered into, opened up, and cleaned out, because they're fortresses. As soon as they get wind of anything like this to them, they would try to clean up as fast as they could so you wouldn't think ill. But I already have think ill of the mosque. It's a good feeling to be, a Muslim in grace and in love, and that feeling, that's a good thing. That's what Christian is. That's what Christ represented and was for, and what brought to this world, so we can have this kind of understanding, this kind of peace and love. And that's not killing. It's not taking another life. And we're still trying to avoid that. But if it comes to it, just because you're who you are and what you represent, death will become you. Can you understand the warning? There's a lot to say to you, but you just need to grasp on to what's now. Listen to the thoughts and see how they grasp you. It's not the one to lead, but just this one to spark and to understand, and then it grows from there. I'm not your General Washington, I'll go down in history. I'm standing up on the front of this boat as we get to the shore, but I was down in the back, and them guys are all piled on top of me because I was scared shitless. I can't swim very good, especially in ice water. Are you kidding me? So if I fell out or something had me toppled over, the guys would I would stand on top of them boys till somebody else got another boat over here, because I didn't want to get in that water. And then when we got close to the shore, I was standing up looking like this. I was checking out where the shore, because I get the hell out and jump out of this friggin' boat. Woohoo! But I am the George Washington, general that led that clan. Well, I can be that general that leads this Christian clan. But it's not the claim of history. It's not the pride. It's pure joy because of the creation of what would happen, what it would bring about. The rise of, and the slide, and the covering of this Creator's will, the Creator's souls, come down and cover earth, so it is in everyone. Now, if it was just in everyone, they would let that alone, let that understand where it belongs. Can you understand that? And then there would be no need for anyone to die. Right, even now, with these indifferences, if they just let in that loving heart, open that soul, just breathe this air, because it's here because of this Creator, even of our souls that are inside us that make us human beings, different from the animals that we see down in all those other levels. But there are levels above us. Remember, maybe you better watch it again, where we're the creatures. Can you imagine whatever it is in your soul right now that has been doing whatever and drawing all kind of whatever it can to this whatever, Can you imagine that being opened up? And you just let it open up, and it's going to catch your breath, because it's like, it's that feeling. It's that feeling is coming. And where do you want it to go? Where do you want it to end in your bodies? Do you just want to push it out into the world? Through bringing it up, through channeling into the levels above, bringing down to you and me, us all. My God. I'm so grateful. I didn't think it would happen again. I never even dreamt of it happening again. Wow. And it's because of love that's given. It's love that's received. Oh, it's such a pleasure. Doesn't matter where we go, where we roam, you know, it's always a pleasure. And I'll just keep thinking of, blessing of, and being grateful, and, you know, in God's heaven, willed as heaven on earth, to be lived within everyone. You know, that precious, that receiving, and the giving, and the spreading moments. And that's a draw that out there has gotten turned our minds to sexually things of whatever nature that can distract that nature, so they can extract from your sweet, loving, graceful nature, and they devour you up. So we need to stop those types of behaviors instantly. It can be done, as the thought is already with you, and let those energies rise in you. It doesn't have to be zip, zap, zup, bing. But through yoga, these enlivening are energies, and that's what you need to go through and see and feel, and it gets to the real better deal on later on. And Jesus, there's nothing better than, imagine everybody doing this. Oh. Well, I think of Kino, of all the yoga things I've seen in positionings and teachings. And she has a beginner's course at Kino Yoga. And it's really good. And it really helps open you up. And she understands the blessings, the energy that comes and is derived from doing yoga and enlightening. And that is one of the very best things you can have in that kind of teachings and teacher. Wow. So I need to drink me some water and thank you, dear Father. I'm very, very grateful, Father. I mean, His energy has filled me so much, and to go out and I don't see it. And I don't see it. And you try to speak of it and just talk and be yourself, and there they are. There's nothing back. It's too bad about those people. They would make to where all the Muslims will be going, and that's straight to hell, death. And it won't be like a final death. This is a death that's the worst torturous that you can think of. It is never ends. Because you get to that point where even a dream, and sometimes things you've actually have happened to you, to where you're falling in that point, and you're screaming in that point, and it's such pain at that point, agonizing, and you can see it growing, and your fear growing, and the actual attention to this moment, if it hits you at that moment, oh my God, oh, you're gonna just feel it and feel it and feel it, and then you wake up, but not when you die under the lies of Muhammad. You will never wake up. You will always remain in that moment, that torturous, save me, save me. So, the last seconds are escaping. I don't want to die. Save me, save me. There's no snap. You can't wake up. It goes on. It goes on. And it goes on. And it never stops. C'est la vie. More and more. To all Muslims and their gore that's been led and brought into lies by Islam in their controlling lust, that is brought through into and depended on a person that lived way back in the past. Maybe he was a Muslim then, who knows? I think not. There were no Muslims back then. So someone's invented this after that fact and thought he would be a good model role player because of where he was fierce and he killed and he took and he raped and took everything he wanted. And that was a thing that we wanted to breed into the people. Can you imagine that? To bring out that kind of fierce lust behavior. So then you could take over and use them to take over and use them to take over until you conquered all. And then where do you go? Well, these guys have never stopped. Centuries going on and on and on. And it's over. Think about it, what it really is, what it really was. I mean, come on. Jeez. I have mentioned before about, if you want somebody like that, if we need to take on someone like that, we need some fierce warriors out here in the United States to be stepping up and coming out with that force that just negatifies, these Muslims and just chase them out on horseback, however it goes, however it takes. Get them out of here. That's what'll have to be done, because, if the words aren't listened to and not understood, then it's just going to bring it to a point where this has to come on, and you just listen to good words and just try to bring in the wisdom and through the exercise and feats that we can do and endure, and it won't be necessary. So I'd like this to be viral so that it won't be necessary for all the blood to be shed. But everybody have that one understanding. And start practicing yoga. Stop thinking about the other things out there in the world, the ads they want us to think about. That's just for them and their greed. They want more and more. That's enough of that, And they're going to use things against us, whatever against us, but this is all going to turn on them. It has to. It's the way it's going to end. and it won't be the end of us. You know, if you believe in God, the things to understand about Christ and what He did to open the doors that have been shut. He opened the doors to heaven to give us a glimpse and a feel and a touch. And you open up your energies to the upper levels that are going on and keep going and going and going. It's like comparison the earth around the sun and as it travels. You know, there's like that scene, like that we see, but there's a ceiling in this, much like the ceiling with heaven. It's there, but through the web, the knit, the fabric that we did came through birth, we lost that moment, that inert feeling, that energy. And that's what we need to remember to get back. That is the most important thing on this earth, not making money. That's not where it's at. There's so much in this world that could be shared in this world where nobody need go without in this world ever for anything. Everyone equally sharing. And this is not the need of some person to appoint himself in a castle like I'm the king here, you know. This is the way things will be run. Well, everybody already knows that. And as long as everybody's already doing that, then, you know, the kingdom is done. The king steps down and he tends to his plow. That's the way it needs to be done. Anybody out there? One person in a viral. Well, I've got things to do, so. I know I was speaking of the other levels and all, and our so this heaven is in a spiral, but it's like it goes around. And it's not like in that one slot that our earth is in that goes around the sun. We're in that one line. It's wiggly, squiggly, whatever, but it's moving right along. And the heaven is like that, but it's all over all at once, and it's revolving. So that's pretty different. And that's other levels where they see and you always bring it back because where you want that to be. And it's a choice. And people, we need to make these choices. And there needs to be a deadline. It needs to be out enough to where there's a deadline to be brought to see if people have actually hindered to and thought of and decided to make that kind of a change, because it's the most important thing we have to do. It's just strange that people would want to step in the way to stop you, to stop us, to stop me. Well, that can't be true. Because it's like, you know, we've done this before. And just remember the gladiators were tools. Used by the ruling families at that time, just to entertain them. Just to entertain them. Any viral things and thoughts out there? Any kindred the same? Check me out, 10-4. Golden Dragon. Peace out.